You may have heard that Eagle, Idaho is the creme de la creme of Boise, Idaho suburbs. And for many, it absolutely is. Eagle, Idaho is an incredible fit for many political refugees looking to relocate to Boise, Idaho. But the reality is that a lot of people call me thinking that Eagle, Idaho is number one on their list. And after we talk or after they come visit, they quickly realize that Eagle, Idaho might not be the best fit for them and their family. So today I am hoping to bring you some clarity and help walk you through some of the pros and cons of living in Eagle, Idaho to help you decide if this is the best place for you or not. Let's start with a con because why not? I think it's so important for people to understand exactly what they're getting into when they're relocating and picking a suburb. And if you are okay with the cons, the worst part about living in Eagle, Idaho, then I'm pretty confident that it's a good fit for you and your family. So, the location. The location can be very frustrating depending on what your lifestyle is like and what you want your day to day to look like. If you're not someone who's retired or working from home, depending on where you're driving to every day, the location can really stink for commuters. That does depend on which part of Eagle, Idaho you end up in, but let's just go with downtown Eagle for point of reference. So, downtown Eagle, to get yourself to the freeway, if it is during rush hour traffic or busier days of the week, or maybe there's some kind of construction going on Eagle Road or nearby, or an accident, you are going to be backed up in traffic attempting to get to that freeway. And I tell people, you're relocating, you are choosing what your life looks like. And if you have the opportunity to not commute and still end up in a suburb that you really love and adore, and the community is great and it's safe, and you like raising your kiddos there or playing with your grandkids there or staying at home and enjoying your retirement, then choose to not commute. Now, there are parts of Eagle where the commute is much less so than other parts of Eagle. And if you reach out to us via phone, email, or text, we'll get you on a Zoom and sit down and chat with you and really get to know you so that we know exactly what it is that you need as far as your day-to-day commute goes. And we can situate you and point you in the right direction. But if you end up in the wrong part of Eagle and you are driving, it's going to be extremely frustrating for you. So, piggybacking on that con, I did touch on it kind of a little bit. We have another con, and that is the growing population and the ever changing landscape of Eagle, Idaho. So, Eagle, Idaho has become very, very popular over the years, and it is a very desirable place for people to relocate to. And with that comes development and change. And I can say with confidence, as someone who lives in Eagle, it's not even the same place it was just 5 years ago. I am very excited about a lot of the development that is happening in Eagle, Idaho, but not all of it. At one time, it was considered a place where you could pretty much guarantee that they weren't going to be stacking apartments or townhomes or a ton of big box stores up. But it is definitely looking like there are some parts of Eagle, Idaho that are leaning that direction. Now, the community really pushes back against developers, and they're really trying to make sure that the city sticks with what they've always promised, which is larger lots and larger homes so that people feel like they're not rubbing up, elbows against their neighbor. But the community has not won all of those battles, and there is definitely some congestion in certain parts of Eagle and some chains going in that people are not thrilled about. Previously, there was a very, very cute, quaint downtown little strip of Eagle, and that's where a lot of the community events were held, and where you would find people walking down the street to go out to eat with their friends and family. And while there is still a very cute and quaint downtown Eagle, Right now, there is a lot of construction and they are adding a lot and they are also starting to build up because we know if there's not enough room this way, they're going to build up. So some people are very frustrated that they're putting in 2 and 3 story structures in downtown Eagle because for those of you who are not aware, depending on where you are in Eagle, most parts we are surrounded by foothills and you can see them all around us. It's beautiful. It's one of the things that we're really blessed by living here in Eagle is just the scenery of those foothills. So people are not thrilled about the buildings while they're not skyscrapers. The 3 story building, in many people's opinions, is something that's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So we really want to hold our leaders in Eagle accountable and continue to ask and encourage and come together as a community to keep Eagle, Idaho, Eagle. So definitely that growing population can be a little bit of a headache. You are dealing with that construction and the changing landscape here. But overall, I think Eagle, Idaho is still incredible. And for me, at least, it's worth the growing pains to remain an Eagle, Idahoan. Next con that I actually would like to add on to the pro list because for me personally, it's a pro, but con is that we have a very limited nightlife here in Eagle, Idaho. If you are someone who loves to go out and go dancing or get a couple drinks late at night and stay up late talking and hanging out with your friends or your spouse, Eagle, Idaho is not going to be able to offer those things to you, and you're going to have to head to downtown Boise for that. We just don't have a nightlife, and I am a homebody. And so I very much appreciate it makes me feel safe in my community, knowing that there's not a lot of bars and nightclubs open late. I like it. And it's the season of life I'm in. I have little kids, but I know it can be frustrating for a lot of people to relocate to Eagle, Idaho and leave behind a different lifestyle that they were used to, where they have a plethora of options. Now, something about nights here in Eagle, Idaho and in Boise, Idaho is that we have the third latest sunset in the country. Alaska's first, and I believe the other one was Bismarck, North Dakota, and then us. So in the summertime, it stays daylight out until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, which makes a lot of people even more frustrated that the bars and restaurants aren't still open. But if you're a golfer, it's amazing because we have twilight golf and you can reround. Or if you want to go outside and play with your kiddos and let them burn off some of the extra ice cream and popsicles that they had in those summer days, it is so fun to have the sun up longer. I absolutely love it. It's not true in the winter. The winter, it does get dark fairly early, but in the summertime, we really love to soak up all the sun. But for those of you who want to go out and salsa dance and get a couple drinks on the town, you're not going to find that in Eagle, Idaho. I will also add to that that many businesses are closed on Sunday or just throughout the week. The hours of businesses operating, they tend to shut down a little bit earlier than you might be used to. The big box, like grocery stores and a lot of the restaurants are still open, but overall, you're going to have to adjust to a much slower pace of life. The next con is the cost of living, and I am specifically referencing the housing prices. So the housing in Eagle, Idaho is more expensive than some of the other suburbs that you may be exploring. So compared to Meridian, Star, Middleton, Kuna, Nampa, Caldwell, Garden City, Eagle, Idaho is going to cost you more to get into a home than it is in any of those other suburbs. As far as the rest of your cost of living goes, overall, Idaho in general has a much better cost of living than the states that you're likely relocating from. So you are going to save quite a bit of money on your bills, your groceries, your taxes, and what have you. But those house prices are pretty high. And Eagle, Idaho is known here in the Treasure Valley as being a more affluent suburb of Boise, Idaho. I'd say another con of Eagle, Idaho is that many people believe they're going to be able to find a very large property with a very large house in Eagle, Idaho, and that it won't be difficult. But as the population has grown, those properties are becoming more and more a diamond in the rough, and not as easily available to people. So if you are interested in buying multiple acres or a bigger custom home, you're definitely going to want to reach out sooner than later so that we can start working with you far before the date that you would like to end up here. Let's jump into the good stuff, the pros of living in Eagle, Idaho. And I'll say overall, most of the pros of living in Eagle, Idaho are very much exactly the same in all of the suburbs here of Boise, Idaho. It is so beautiful. That's pro number one. Eagle, Idaho is just gorgeous. And I know to each their own, but we have the high desert here surrounded by foothills, and we're also called the City of Trees. So we just have this beautiful mix of vegetation all around us. And in the winter, the foothills are covered with snow, and it is just breathtaking. We have really big skies, and I feel like you can just see God's glory stretched out for miles and miles. It is just absolutely stunning. Another pro is that we have very close proximity to the Boise River and Greenbelt. So we have a river that runs through the Treasure Valley, and along the river is a paved green belt, and you can bike, you can go on walks. There's restaurants, there's little paths that go off in other directions. You can walk right up to the river and pop open a chair or fly fish. It's never super crowded. There's parks off of it. You name it. It is just so, so beautiful. And we are so blessed and so lucky to have that river. And depending on where you relocate to in Eagle, Idaho, or other suburbs, you could even end up in a home that backs up to the Boise River. So that's super incredible. In addition to that, we're very close proximity to the foothills. So people who like to hike or mountain bike are very fortunate because we're so close to those beautiful foothills. And for people who enjoy skiing, we are so close to Bogus Basin in the foothills that you can go skiing when you get off work at night. I mean, where else can you choose to live out in farm country or in a suburb in a small town and then be that close and have that much access to a city that is clean and safe, not overrun by homeless population, also be able to go skiing, also be able to go fly fishing, and do all of that the same day that you're driving to the office. It is incredible. So, that is just something that hands down you cannot beat when it comes to choosing a place to relocate to. Eagle, Idaho, as far as the proximity to the amenities, is incredible. Quality of life is definitely a pro in Eagle, Idaho. I work with many people. We've relocated hundreds of families. For those of you who don't know, we are the number one relocation team here in Idaho. And many people who contact us are calling with health problems, anxiety, stress. Mom and dad are both working max hours, living paycheck to paycheck. And one of the biggest blessings I think about relocating to Idaho is that you can drop that to the side and choose to build a life around you and your family that's much more intentional, and it gives you the ability to really slow down and spend more quality time with your loved ones and a lot less time earning a paycheck, because the cost of living here is much less money than it is in other states. Now, this is not going to be the case for everybody, but in general, we are relocating a lot of families from California California, Washington, and Oregon. And I can tell you the cost of living in those areas are astronomical compared to what it is here in Idaho, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're running a business. This is a very, very low regulation state, and it's very friendly to people who want to open businesses. And I can tell you that it is absolutely life-changing for so many people. I love when my clients report back to me about their new lifestyle 2.0 here in Idaho and let me know that their health is much better, their relationships are much better, their kids are enjoying the slower paced life and mom and dad being home more. It's just really cool that you can really create that kind of life for yourself if that's what you desire. Another pro of Eagle, Idaho is the community. If you want to be in community with people who are like-minded and share similar values, the people of Eagle, Idaho are absolutely amazing. The people relocating here are patriots. Many of them are believers. They are conservative, and with them, they are bringing their values and they are bringing their fight. They want to keep Idaho red and glorifying God. And I can tell you that if that is the kind of community you are looking for and you want to raise your children with like-minded individuals or spend your retirement days with like-minded individuals, then Eagle, Idaho is definitely the place for you. Another pro of living in Eagle, Idaho is the community events. Oh, it is so fun. There is so much to do all of the time and get out and get in the community. My absolute favorite thing is Eagle Fun Days. I know it is all over the internet when people are researching Eagle, Idaho, so you might be aware of it already, but it is just too much fun to not mention. So after 4th of July, we continue with our patriotic spirits and we have a parade. And the second half of the parade, you get out your water guns and you stand with the rest of the community on the street and you start to soak the businesses in the parade, and the businesses soak you back, and the fire department is part of it. And they're spraying hoses and getting everyone wet. It is so fun. And there's a car show and food vendors, and it's just my favorite day of the year. So if you are interested in relocating to Eagle, Idaho, or any of the Boise suburbs, I very much encourage you to give us a call, shoot us a text, or write us an email, because really the way to figure out what the best fit for you and your family is to talk to experts like us who day in and day out are relocating families here. And if you are interested, you got to check out this video here. Until the next one, be blessed.